Thanks for coming to A California Perspective. This is Jordan. I hope you're all having an amazing day. If you wouldn't mind, please like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Today, we are reacting to the Adin Ross and Donald Trump stream that happened yesterday, where they spoke about Kamala, what a mess she is, the elections coming up, the border crisis, etc., etc., etc. And at the end, he gave our favorite president ever, Donald J. Trump, a presidential Rolex and a Tesla Cybertruck where it had the picture of the attempted assassination when he comes up, the American flag right behind him looking like a badass mofo that Trump is. Anyways, if you guys want to see that part, go on Adin Ross's YouTube channel and you'll be able to see him giving the gifts to him. I'm just reacting to the best moments of the stream. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it started.
Mr. President, I'm not really fully into politics, but I'm getting there, and I do want to make this very clear as well. Now it's on my mind. Back when I was I went to high school in California, okay? And a lot of the teachers were basically at the time, this is your first term. They were telling me how horrible a person you are and all these things. And the teachers, you're not supposed to do that. It's inappropriate to have teachers, discuss politics in school. But it's becoming really normal for a lot of teachers. And you're a kid. When you're a kid, your brain is like a sponge.
That's true.
So I want to know what your thoughts on that. Kind of the corruption in the school system in a way. They're teaching some pretty bad stuff in there.
It's been brainwashed to a certain extent. Even the teachers have been brainwashed. They've learned from a long time. This is long before me. This liberal way, or now they call it progressive. They don't like the term liberal. You're not allowed to use that anymore, so I usually use it. But this liberal way that they have, and it's a bad thing for the country. We want to have borders. We want to have low taxes. We want to have great schools, really, great schools, so you can go and learn and be successful and have a wonderful life and all of that. But we want to have a good military so we can protect ourselves,
of course,
from some bad players. You got some bad players out there. And, it's interesting. During my 4 years, we had no war. Other than we had nothing. Everybody was afraid we were going to have wars. And just the opposite. North Korea, I remember Barack Obama was telling me, the biggest problem we have is North Korea. I didn't have a problem with North Korea.
No.
Big nuclear presence. I didn't have a problem. The only war we had was already started long ago, and that was ISIS. And I defeated them in a very short amount of time.
I remember.
Very quickly. And we had no wars under the Trump administration. And that's a great thing,
Also, a lot of people don't seem to remember that it was Obama and Biden administration that funded and created ISIS. It was created under that administration, and still till this day under Biden, they are funding these terrorists with our taxpayer dimes. There is huge things being exposed in this administration lately. I'd say the last couple of days, where I've been seeing that they are literally with our taxes every week paying the people that died during the Iraq war, paying their families out of our taxpayer dime. I don't know why they're paying them. Weren't we there trying to protect the USA from weapons of mass destruction? What happened to that? So why are we now paying who you told us are the enemy? And yes, under Trump, we did have zero wars. That's why the politicians hate him, because that's where the monies are made. And they know with no wars, they're going to be losing out on big money checks.
That's a really great thing. It was, I think, 82 years since that's happened. And we won't have wars again, but we could have a war before we even get there. That's the problem. We have a number of months. We have 4 months, and the election's starting very soon. And I guess 5 months before you actually...
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did.
To get in. And a lot of damage can be done in 5 months by incompetent people. We have very incompetent people right now. And I'm not saying that out of happiness. I'm saying that out of sadness, because our country's in tremendous danger, not only of stock market crashes or depressions or whatever it may be. It's a tremendous military danger. We have Israel's blowing up. The Middle East is blowing up. Russia's going wild with Ukraine. And things are out of control, and we have nobody that knows how to talk. We have nobody that knows. I was watching when Russia was thinking about going in, and they never would have done it with me. They never, and they didn't. But they never, after I got in, they started loading up the border. I thought he was doing it for negotiation purposes. And Biden said all of the wrong things, everything wrong. And ultimately they attacked, and they wouldn't have done that if I were president. So we got to get back in and get it straightened out.
Definitely.
We'll get that one worked out.
100%.
A lot of people.
That's true. That's true. And that's why, again, I'm going to say it, they hate Trump, because he was one of the most anti-war presidents we ever had, but he also led through strength. These leaders could not predict what Trump would do, which is good on our end because it keeps them in place. It keeps them from testing us like they're now doing with Biden when it comes to every country. These wars weren't happening. People were not overstepping boundaries. And then the minute Trump got kicked out of office, because we all know how that happened with the election, all of a sudden it went back to normal. Everyone take advantage of us. Also, our taxpayer money is being spent on these wars without our approval. It's ridiculous.
On. You have Japan, you have everybody just falling. And I want to ask you, how do we basically get it back up and flowing and back up and running? And, and what's causing this?
Well, right now you have no confidence. You have somebody that now is taking over from Biden because he just wants to stay in bed all day. He can't get up. He wants to stay in bed. It was a fraud. They tried to tell people he was competent. He knew what he was doing. And in the debate, he was adjudged to be not so good.
Yeah.
But you can go back 4 years, too. He campaigned from his basement. He didn't campaign. I said, where is this guy during COVID? They used COVID as an excuse not to let him talk.
Yeah.
The whole thing was a fraud, and everybody knew it, and they knew it strongly. And we're going to get it going again. We have to get it going again. They put us in a very bad position. The worst thing is we have probably, I think, Adin, 20 million people came into our country with open borders, and many come from prisons. And you can be a liberal, and your people can be, but coming from some of the meanest prisons all over the world, not just South America, from all over the world, from the Congo and Africa, they come from all over the world. They're coming, and they're releasing their prisoners into the United States. Now, you can be a liberal guy, you can be progressive as anybody in the world, and you can't think that's a positive thing. No. They're coming out of mental institutions. They're pouring into the United States, and they're hurting and damaging our country, and they're killing our people. And the crime rate with what you're talking about and what we're talking about, we call it migrant crime. It's a new form of crime, and it's a very violent crime. And it's going to take on proportions the likes of which this country has never seen before. And remember, these people are just getting accustomed. These are people coming out of mental institutions, prisons and jails, and many terrorists. We're having record numbers of terrorists coming in. So I'm talking, I assume, mostly to a young audience, but a young audience, no matter where they're coming from, they can't be happy about this.
No, they can't.
This is what I continue to always say as well. The best way to red pill a Democrat is to give them exactly what they vote for. It's very sad that in order for that to actually finally click in their head that open borders is a terrible policy, it needs to affect them physically. For example, someone needs to break into their home. It needs to come close to where they're at so they can actually see how it affects the population, because still till this day, people still, yeah, let's have open borders. You're a racist. You're a bigot because you don't want people that we have no clue where they're from because we're not properly vetting. We don't want them to just come freely in and to collect free resources off our taxpayer dimes when we're barely getting by and have homeless Americans. It's just the thought process makes zero sense. So yeah, they aren't sending their best people. They are emptying their prisons and sending the worst across our country. So as our country falls and crumbles, all these other countries who are third world countries are emptying their prisons and sending all of their worst people across the border. Sure, there are good people. I'm not saying everyone's bad, but a huge portion, we don't know where they're from. And a couple of days ago, the FBI is now saying that we have record terrorists coming across the border that we have no clue where they're at. A lot of them just poof in the middle there, and they don't have a clue where they're at. So now they're giving us warnings that a black swan event, which is a huge national disaster like 9/11, times that much bigger, is coming. So it's just like we're like waiting ducks, and it's sad. We fund our government to take care of us, and if they're not willing to take care of us, we don't need to spend taxes at all. That's what I think. No more taxing us.
Jobs are being taken. A lot of crime, so what President Trump, what do we do to fix that issue? What if I happen to be born in another country and I want to come the right way? How would that work?
Well, that's what we want. We want people to come in, but they have to come in through a legal system. And, one of the things that's unfair is we have hundreds of thousands of people that have applied to come in, and this administration doesn't talk to them.
Right.
But if they walk through the southern border, they have no problem getting in. I don't even know why they're doing this, but Some people are waiting 10 years to come in, and they've studied. They learned all about the United States, about our Constitution, about everything, and
Right.
they're not being let in, and we're allowing people to come in from really rough places, really bad places.
Because they know that people who are trying to get here legally most likely has suffered from communism and these commies that the countries are running from. Contrary that to the criminals who are coming in, not getting vetted and getting all these resources, it's like the opposite. The good people who are waiting in line, studying, waiting to come in, get put on the back burner. But the people who are breaking the laws coming across while attacking and hurting Americans physically and economically are getting all the free resources. This administration is disgusting.
And they come in through caravans, and these caravans have 10, 20, 30,000 people, and they're
Wow.
pouring through Mexico.
That's crazy.
And Mexico was great when I was there. They were helping us. I had stay in Mexico. You can imagine what that is. That means you have to stay in Mexico. You can't come into this country until we approve you. They gave it up. Now they just walk right in.
Wow.
They had catch and release. We had catch and release. That's you catch a criminal and you release them into our country. I said, no. We catch a criminal and we release them into Mexico. I think you feel better about that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
it's one of those things. There's so many things. They are so bad. It's like amateur night. It's either amateur night or they want to destroy our country.
Right. Do you what do you think about what's going on in Venezuela? The whole situation out there.
Well, I know it very well. And Venezuela is right now being run by a dictator. We were enemies with Venezuela. Venezuela was going to collapse, and people could have gone back to Venezuela. They're in our country now. They've released tremendous numbers of criminals into our country. If you look at Caracas, it was known for being a very dangerous city, and now it's very safe. In fact, the next interview we'll do it in Caracas, Venezuela, because it's
I'm
safer
down.
than many of our cities after they've released their criminals into all of our cities.
Yeah.
And I'm kidding.
I know.
The reason I have to say that because the fake news media knows that too, but they'll say, he suggested they go to Venezuela. They are so bad, it's hard to believe. But anyway, so Venezuela, their crime is down 72% because they've taken their criminal elements, which are large. It was a very dangerous place, especially Caracas and the different cities. And they've moved them into the United States of America. I know you're very happy. I know that your mother and father must be thrilled when they hear that.
Yeah.
Who happen to be here, I believe.
They are. They're right over there. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Are you thrilled with what they're doing? I don't think so.
No.
Picture this. You're sitting at home alone watching YouTube videos, wondering why you can't find the motivation to do the
I don't think they're thrilled. I don't think so. So
What it is it's just common sense policy. Would you want someone you don't know just coming into your house? Like, it's just common sense. When you're coming into our country, you're coming into our area where we live. So why is it too much to ask for proper vetting from these people that we have no clue who they are? And as we now see from pictures that have been leaked and been going viral, these illegals are getting thousands upon thousands of dollars in GA, which is actual cash on these cards, and thousands upon thousands in EBT, which is for buying food. So if it's happening with one and they're getting all these thousands, I'm sure our government's just hooking these people up with cards and money out of our taxes on deck all day, every day. Because if happening to one, it's happening to others. You got to guarantee that. And it's sad because we have homeless veterans and Americans on the street.
At a rally.
well, what Hillary did is she would go out and get Bruce Springsteen. He'd get much smaller crowds than I got, to be honest. And he had a guitar, right? I don't have a guitar. But he would fill up a place and then he'd finish and they'd all leave and she'd be speaking. So now Kamala's doing the same thing because nobody wants to go watch her. Nobody.
No.
I mean, she speaks for like a
That's
short.
true.
Nobody's going to want to watch her, and nobody does want to watch. Now, at least there's a little bit of curiosity, but there's no value really in going and watching her. So what she did is she's gotten a couple of rappers, and they fill up the place. But what she does is a little bit different. She has them go last. That's smart. I give. So in other words, they want her to finish her speech, get the hell off the stage, and then they can listen to the
The
rap.
performance starts.
No, it's pretty.
It's kind of smart.
Hillary did it. No, I give her
I
credit.
want to say this real quick. If anyone goes on Kamala's actual, what's it called, presidential campaign site, a lot of people have been exposing this, I guess you could say, There is literally zero policy plan on her platform, like zero. Just vote for me because I'm a woman of color. I'm a woman. So vote for me. We're going to fight for women's rights, which just means abortions. That's all it means, abortions. And if I recall, which I've said many of times, the owner that opened up Planned Parenthood was a racist white liberal Democrat who opened up Planned Parenthood to depopulize minority babies because she was racist against them. So in the end, you're literally just supporting baby killers that opened it up just to depopulize the minority babies. It's very sad once you learn the history of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, give it to her a little bit.
Hillary never figured that out. She'd get some star, and the star would fill up the place, and then the star would leave. They would leave. Everybody would leave, and she's talking to an empty stadium. You know? Anyway, this is a little better idea.
Yeah, I wanna move on to the fun stuff now. I think we've definitely talked on some ideas and policies, excuse me. But I want to know the fun stuff because you are a fun guy. You know, I've heard a lot from a lot of people how cool you are. Especially Dana. Shout out to Dana. I know you're watching.
Dana.
Yeah, he's the
There's
greatest.
nobody like him. You know. I always say everybody can be replaced except Dana. Because this guy travels the world looking for fighters. Okay, get me fighters. He doesn't care where they from countries nobody ever heard of, and that's where he finds the best fighters. Now he cannot be replaced. He's truly great at what he does.
He's the coolest. I know you're a UFC fan, right?
I am.
Who are like your favorite fighters?
Well, I think Khabib. I mean, how good is Khabib? Do you know who Khabib is?
Of course, I know Khabib.
Khabib was 29, 28-0. And then his
Khabib is Russian, by the way, and he is retired. I'm a huge UFC fan and Dana White fan. So let me tell you the background of what happened after this interview part was released yesterday to the public. Conor McGregor, because he hates Khabib. I don't know why. Probably because Khabib whooped that ass. And I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan, but Khabib is one of the GOATs. So it's him and John Jones are the GOATs of UFC. They have these undefeated records where they just demolished their whole careers. And Conor McGregor lost to Khabib very badly. It was not a pretty sight. And I'm a huge fan of Conor, but he was literally talking shit about Trump yesterday on X, aka Twitter, because he said that Khabib's his favorite person. Khabib's always been that quiet person that kind of stays to himself and who's dominated every single opponent. So he's quiet, but he's a beast. And Conor didn't like that. So he started clowning on Trump yesterday and got insane backlash, as he should, because sure, you can be mad about the comment, but if you're kind of supporting Kamala after that comment, it just shows that your emotions take over your ability to critically think on, okay, I don't like what he said, but I'm still know who I'm going to vote for. Where Conor was acting like, oh, he said this thing that I didn't agree with, so now I'm going to vote for Kamala and you should too. It's crazy.
Father died and he stopped, but I think he never lost. I don't think he ever lost a round.
He didn't.
Like, he fought many times. He never lost like a round. And I thought he was I got to meet him at a fight 2 fights ago because I walk in with Dana. Sometimes I do this walk in and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where I first met you.
Yeah, that's right. Come to that.
Yeah.
If I didn't get any applause, you wouldn't want me on this show. You'd say, forget him. No, we get big applause. We walk in together.
It's crazy. You shut it down.
No, I met Khabib though, and he was very, he came to me and he said, you're the man that can stop the war, because he's talking about the war with Ukraine, Russia.
Of course.
Because he knows they're his people. I mean, on both sides, right? There's so many people dying in that war, and the whole culture is being destroyed. You know, the cities are coming down. They're just pouring.
I'm sorry, guys, about these stupid ads.
Bombs in, and he really, it was amazing. We weren't talking about fighting. We were talking about a different kind of fighting, a much worse kind of fighting. And he was very concerned about that whole thing, that war. He said, you can get it stopped, and I can get it stopped. I will have that stopped before I assume. I will, if I win the election, the first thing I'm going to do is get Putin and get Zelensky. I know them both very well, and get them to make a deal, because it's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
And Putin has already came out publicly and said that he wants the war to end, that he's over it. And originally, it would have never even been created and gotten to this point if Biden didn't send Boris Johnson, UK's old prime minister, to break the peace treaty that they originally had. That's Biden and Boris Johnson's fault. So if you're looking for someone to blame, because they've already tried to blame Trump, even though he wasn't president when this happened, and Putin never messed with us when Trump was president, you can't really blame him at this point because nothing happened under him. Putin respected Trump, which is why he never messed with Trump. Putin doesn't respect Biden, which is why he invaded under Biden.
Yes, and that's it's like your rallies in the crowd, huh?
I know. I like this crowd. I think it's good. I like you people. You know what they are, though? They're people that want to see the country do well.
That's it.
It's people that just like they don't want to see crime.
Right.
They don't want to be mugged, because they're selfish in that respect. They prefer not being mugged, right? But they don't want other people to be mugged, beaten up, shot, and killed. In Chicago, on July 4th weekend, they had 117 people shot. Think of this. You live there. 117 people were shot, 17 died. This is in one weekend, July 4th weekend.
Wow.
I mean, nobody wants that. If you're living in Chicago, you have a good chance of, something bad happening when you're going to go buy a loaf of bread and something really bad could happen. So we don't want to, and they don't want that. The people behind me, who I just met briefly, they're great, but they're like other people. People don't want crime. They don't want to go to wars. They want to be able to make money. They want to be able to have a good life. They want a great education, all the things that you want, just the basic things. And we don't have that now.
It's really sad, honestly. And
Think of this, Israel, you're Jewish. Are you a fan of Israel?
Yeah.
It would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened if I was president. And everybody admits it. Iran was broke. They had no money. I wouldn't let anybody buy oil from Iran. As soon as Biden comes in, he didn't have a clue. He let everything happen. But Iran was totally broke. They had no money. And I wouldn't let them nobody. China, I said, you buy oil from Iran and you can't do business in the United States. They said, we'll pass. I mean, that's fine. But I did that with everybody. And we would have had a deal, 100% we would have had a deal, and there would have been no attack. There was no money left. Iran had no money. We would have made a deal. We would have made a fair deal for them. I would have loved to have made a fair deal. I'm not looking to, I just want them, they can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. So what happens is we worked very hard on that. And then he comes in and he allows everybody to go. China now is buying millions, billions and billions of dollars worth of oil. And Iran now is a very rich country. And October 7th would have never happened. And it wouldn't happen because they didn't have the money to pay Hamas and Hezbollah and all of these, they call them instruments of terror, a lot of different names. And so October 7th would have never happened. The recent attack on the park would have never happened. That was so graphic. And so, normally you don't see that. Normally the media cuts it off, but they didn't have time to cut it off because it was during the day, very public. And you'd see children with their legs cut off. Those initial scenes were so horrible, where a rocket landed in a little soccer field. Just terrible. All of that stuff would have never happened. And we'll get it stopped fast, by the way. We'll get it stopped fast. There's no games.
Amazing. Well, everyone that's watching, everyone behind, just know that your vote really does matter. And you guys really have a big decision coming up in November. You guys got to really go out there and vote for the right person.
Why are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously.
Oh, I'm
Why
sorry,
are you not
guys.
investing
That's four.
into one of the
Person, which is him.
Wow, that's come in.
I don't know why I've had so many ads, but I just wanted you guys to hear that last part. The rest is him kind of playing a game and gifting him. But I agree with that. Don't believe me. Don't take my word. Go out and individually research your own stuff. Listen to both sides. Come up with your own conclusion, because right now I feel like it's very clear. Open borders, Kamala. Secure border, Trump. Inflation skyrocketing, Kamala. Low inflation, Trump. Bringing in illegals while giving them jobs and taking away American jobs. Bringing jobs back to America and giving them to Americans. It's America versus communism. It's really clear. Which one do you prefer? Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. Please like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.